chapter is going to center around the events of the 1930s, and you can't really talk about the 1930s unless you talk about the Great Depression, the Great Economic Depression. And of course, that's going to be precipitated by the stock market crash in 1929. And before we really talk about the stock market crash, we want to take some time to tell you about how the stock market works. And I want you to envision this for a second too. Think about any business that's ever started. Maybe your family members or somebody in your not so immediate family owns a business. All businesses start out as a privately owned business. Like, let's say that a person wants to create a business that's a bookstore. That's ultimately something that starts out as a privately owned business. Even something like Amazon started out as an online website that packaged and delivered books to people. That's originally what Amazon was just an online book retailer. But over time, what happens is a lot of those privately owned businesses want to get more money for a number of reasons. They want to expand their business, grow their business, hire more people. And the best way to do that is to sell stocks in your business, to go from being a privately owned business to a publicly owned business. And stocks are just a piece of ownership in someone's business. So let's say I start my own online bookstore to compete with various websites. And let's say it starts doing really well, but I want to expand my business and I need money. So I'm going to sell pieces of ownership to various individuals who want to buy them. And so what you would get if you buy stock in a company, you would used to get a certificate like this verifying that you had certain number of shares of a business. A share is just one piece of ownership in a particular business. So if you bought stocks in Amazon today, let's say you buy 5 shares. Well, you have 5 pieces of ownership. And ultimately, when a company goes public, when they decide to start sharing their business and allow people to purchase it, you determine the number of shares, the number of ways that you slice up your company. And so what a lot of businesses will do, like let's just use Amazon for example, when Jeff Bezos decided that he wanted to go public and allow people to invest in Amazon, he's going to keep a little bit more than half of the shares for himself. And then he's going to sell just under half. So that way, he's still the majority shareholder and he gets to make all the decisions regarding what the business does. Okay? So when you buy stocks, you're buying a piece of ownership. And if I sell stocks in my company, my online business, then I'm selling a piece of ownership. You would become a part owner if you buy that. Now, in today's world with electronics dictating so much, you don't get certificates. However, you can still get paperwork verifying that you indeed own a piece of a particular business if you want it. Now, where do you get stocks? If you want to invest in a business, where do you get them from? And the answer is you get them at a stock market. Okay? So if you want a stock, you got to go to a stock market. Same thing if you want groceries, you go to a grocery store. Okay? Here is where the stock market is in the United States. This is downtown in New York City. Most major nations have a stock market that you'll find in one of their major cities. Japan, they have a stock market. It's in Tokyo. Germany has one in Berlin. Great Britain has one in London. You get the idea. So ultimately, the stock market is where you go if you want to buy stocks. And this is the only stock market where you can buy stocks. You can't buy them anywhere else in the country. So, hopefully you've thought to yourself at this point, I can't get to New York City. That's too far to travel just to buy stocks. Well, what you would do in the past is you wouldn't buy them. You would contact somebody who's known as a stockbroker who works here on Wall Street. That's where the stock market is. Okay? And when you talk to this stockbroker, he's going to help purchase things on your behalf. This is the inside of the New York Stock Exchange, and of course most of it's done electronically right now, but you used to have people in there, and if you go back and watch old movies about markets and things like that, you'll see people down there in what they call the pits, exchanging, buying and selling, taking orders, making sales for stocks. Now most of it's done electronically. But in the past, you had to contact a stockbroker, and a stockbroker is somebody who is monitoring the market nonstop, and they'll make a purchase for you on your behalf. So Ultimately, what they do, let's say you want to buy 500 shares or 500 pieces of a business, say Amazon. This person, this stockbroker, will go and make the purchases for you, and he will collect a commission. So he's like, listen, I'm not going to do this for free. If you pay me a certain amount of money, then I will buy the stocks for you. And he will also give you suggestions and tips because his particular job is to monitor the market. It's also good in some ways to have a stockbroker because this individual has expertise and their job is all day to monitor the market. So if a share price starts decreasing rapidly, you might not be aware of it, but your stockbroker, if you give him instructions to make a sale, if the value starts to drop, they can do that, or at the very least, they can contact you and say, what do you want me to do? So in the past, you'd contact a stockbroker, they would make the sale or they would make the purchase for you. In today's world, it's a lot easier. Now you can go online to something like Ameritrade or E-Trade, and you can buy stocks on your own. All you need is a connection to a checking account or a credit card, and they will be more than happy to let you buy stocks on your own, and there's no commission, there's no fee. So you're just paying the price for what you buy in terms of the share. Okay? So if you're buying stocks, how do they value the stocks? And the stocks are valued on a lot of different things. It's basically, think of it this way. Something's only worth what somebody else is willing to pay for it. And so people try to predict what the price is going to be. So if I went to a supermarket and they have bananas priced at $5 a banana, I think that's too high. In fact, most people would think that's too high and they're not going to buy them. So the supermarket, Kroger's for instance, would have to simply drop the price of that because they realize they've overpriced or overvalued their bananas. And so I'm going to say, listen, I'm going to be willing to pay 79 cents for a banana. That's it, top dollar there. And let's say Kroger comes down to about 90 cents. And I'm like, well, maybe I can come up a little bit. It's a constant ebb and flow of the prices based on what I think a banana's worth. Okay, maybe I really like bananas. I think that's great. They're flavorful. They're healthy for you. It's a better alternative than a processed snack. Now, stocks is a little bit different. Financial information is one thing that helps determine the price. How much revenue did this company have in the last year? Financial information also includes things like profit. Are they good about paying their taxes? What are their projections like for the next 5 years? What have they been like? Every company that's a publicly traded stock has to provide this financial information and make it public. If they lie or they don't disclose certain information, people can be held accountable and go to jail over this. So if a company is really profitable, then you know what? Maybe, for instance, people will say, you know what, that's a company I'd like to own. All right? World affairs. A lot of different things will dictate what's going on. And I know that's a very broad topic, but think of it this way. In 2022, when Russia invaded Ukraine, the conflict there caused a problem. Immediately, it disrupts the agricultural prices of various grains that Ukraine provided, and it also changes the prices based on oil. That doesn't mean that a business has done something bad or stupid. It just means they're the victim of something else. Think of it this way. ExxonMobil, which is an American-based company that refines petroleum into gasoline, refines oil into petroleum or gasoline, and they sell that to various gas stations. Well, what happens to Exxon's ability to profit when they don't get oil from Russia anymore? That's going to be a problem for them. They won't profit as much, and people will say Exxon is not really that good of a business anymore. And it's nothing that Exxon did, but at the same time, you don't want to invest in that business. Something else that will help determine the price or the value of a stock might be the internal workings. Let's say, for example, we look at a company like McDonald's. A few years ago, the CEO of McDonald's had to step down because he admitted to having an affair with one of his employees, which was strictly forbidden by company policy. He didn't do anything illegal. It wasn't the smartest thing to do, but it does cause a momentary dip in the price of McDonald's stocks. Of course, it recovers over time, but things like that can have an impact. Stock prices ultimately will rise and fall based on confidence and fear. If you believe that a stock is valuable and other people believe it's valuable and are willing to pay for it, that will drive up a price. But if people start looking at a company and say, I don't think it's valuable anymore, and they get afraid, they will try to panic and sell it in a hurry. Maybe you think there's news that's about to break about Amazon that they are going to go bankrupt. Doesn't matter if it's true or not. If you're afraid that's going to happen, you're going to sell your Amazon stock so fast that it's going to cause other people to panic too, and they're willing to sell it at a price that might not be what they paid for it.